Welcome to the School Nutrition Program training on eligibility determinations. This training will focus on explaining the different ways to determine a student's meal benefit eligibility. There are several different ways to determine meal benefit eligibility. The first method listed here is the income-based method, which is based on income information entered on a meal benefit application. The second way to determine meal benefit eligibility is through electronic direct certification, which is the process of matching student data with DHS data to obtain a list of students that automatically qualify for free meals. And the last method listed here is categorical eligibility, which is a way of automatically qualifying a student for free meals. Categorical eligibility includes a family providing a letter from DHS that states that they should bring the letter to the school or a family or guardian, indicating that the student or students on an application is either homeless, a fostered child or children, or in Head Start. And this method will be referenced throughout the training while explaining both income-based and electronic direct certification. First, we will look at the meal benefit applications and how to complete income-based eligibility determinations. Here is an example of a meal benefit application. Note that the meal benefit application pictured here is the latest meal benefit application prototype provided by the USDA. The layout of this application is somewhat different from the previous years, but the same information is being collected. So you should still be able to follow along even if you are using an older version of the application. You might just have to skip around on the application a little as we go along. We're going to take a look at this one section at a time and talk about what's required in each section. In step 1, the person completing the application should have listed all of the children who live in that household. Take a look at the area on the right side of the application, where the red arrows are pointing. If any of these boxes are checked, this indicates that this child is a foster, runaway, or homeless child, and those children are automatically eligible for free meals. Note that Rhode Island does not have a migrant worker program, which is for families who move around frequently in search of seasonal work. So this box should not be checked. In step 2, the question asks if any household members currently participate in one or more of the following assistance programs: SNAP, TANF, or FDPIR. In Rhode Island, TANF is referred to as Rhode Island Works. If they checked yes, they need to put a case number in the box here. According to the Rhode Island Department of Human Services, the number of digits in a SNAP number can vary from person to person. Typically, SNAP numbers are 6 or 9-digit numbers, but you can accept any number that is 15 digits or less. You should not accept a 16-digit number. Rhode Island case numbers will never be 16 digits long, and is most likely the person's EBT card number, which is not sufficient proof of benefits. If step 2 is completed, the household can skip step 3 and go directly to step 4. This is step 3, part A of the meal benefit application. Here is where all other household members that are not listed in step 1 should be listed, including the person who is completing the application. Next to each household member, they need to fill in the earnings from work, and they must check the frequency of the income listed, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, 2 times a month, monthly, or annual. In the column next to that, they would indicate the amount of any public assistance, child support, or alimony they receive, and again, they must indicate the frequency. In the last column, they would indicate whether they collect any pensions, retirement, or any other income, and again, they must indicate frequency. If they have not indicated frequency in any of these columns, you must contact them to obtain this information before you can accept the application, as the application is considered incomplete without the frequency of income. Also, Be aware of multiple types of income frequencies. For example, if one household member gets paid weekly and another household member gets paid monthly, you will need to annualize their incomes in order to come up with the total household earnings. This means you would need to multiply the weekly income by 52 and the monthly income by 12, then add those two numbers together, which would give you the total annual income for the household. Annualizing would also be necessary if just one adult was listed, but they had multiple types of income with different frequencies for each type of income. You can find a list of conversion factors for all the different types of income frequencies on the back of the application under the For School Use Only section. If there is no income reported for any member of the household, you should accept this as an indication of zero income. Applicants are no longer required to check a box to say there is no income. They can simply leave the Earnings from Work column blank. At the bottom of Step 3A, the applicant should fill in the total number of household members, which should equal the total number of children listed in Step 1, plus the total number of adults listed in Step 3. If, for any reason, you think the total number of household members is incorrect, maybe they wrote 5, but you only see 4 people listed on the application, or maybe the opposite, they wrote 4, but they listed 5 on the application, you will need to contact the household to obtain clarification. They must either fill in the last 4 numbers of their Social Security number or check the box indicating that they do not have a Social Security number. The Social Security number, or checking the box for no Social Security number, is required and the application is considered incomplete without this information. If this information is missing, you must contact the household to obtain the missing information. Note that it is acceptable to obtain missing information over the phone, but you must document that you did so and initial the date anywhere on the application where you wrote or changed information. In Step 3B, applicants should indicate if there is any child income in the household. Please note that this is meant to capture the income of a child with a regular income, and they should not include infrequent sources of income, such as babysitting or occasional lawn mowing. The back of the application has a detailed list of possible sources of child income, as well as adult income. In Step 4, the applicant must sign and date the application. They may choose not to provide their address, but if the application is not signed, it is considered incomplete, and you may not process it until you have obtained the missing signature. We also recommend that you indicate in some way the date the application was received by the school so that RIDE is able to assess whether you made a determination within the required 10-day time frame. For example, if the person completing the application filled it out on August 1st but didn't return the application to the school until September 1st, you would want to indicate that on the application so that RIDE doesn't think that you waited 30 days or more to process the application. This section on the back regarding racial and ethnic identities is optional for the applicant, and you cannot require anyone to complete this section of the application. Also included on the back of the application are the use of information statement and the non-discrimination statement, which are required to be there. So if you need to reformat the application for any reason before you send it out, be sure that you do not accidentally omit these statements. Also note that if you change the application, the non-discrimination statement must remain in the format shown and may not be in a smaller font than the smallest font on the application. The space on the back of the application labeled "For School Use Only" is for you to complete. This is where you write in your determination and provide some information that will help us see how you arrived at this determination. Note that the total income, how often, and household size are for applications where Step 3 was completed, and categorical eligibility is for applications with foster or homeless students, or where Step 2 is completed with a SNAP case number. The eligibility should be checked off to indicate the eligibility determination. The person making the determination must sign and date the form. The date is particularly important because it demonstrates that you made a determination within the required time frame, which, as mentioned on the previous slide, is within 10 days of receipt. Also note that prior to verification, someone other than the determining official must confirm that the original determination was made correctly, and that person will sign where it says confirming official's signature. This is discussed in more detail in the verification training. If you use an electronic system to make eligibility determinations, you still need to be able to provide us with documentation that shows us who made the determinations and the date which they were made at, such as a printout of your electronic system, from your electronic system. The Eligibility Manual is also a very useful tool to keep handy when making eligibility determinations. If you don't have a copy of the Eligibility Manual, please contact us and we will email it to you. Most of your questions can likely be answered using the handbook. In particular, in Section 2, the basis of eligibility, the pages listed here include a lot of scenarios you might come across when trying to make determinations based on income, including special situations for determining household composition, determining household reportable income, and special situations that might arise when determining household reportable income, as well as examples of payments excluded as income. This is an example of what the eligibility guidelines look like. You will need this chart to help you make eligibility determinations by comparing it to the total income entered on a meal benefit application. Remember that if there are different frequencies of income entered on the meal benefit application, you must annualize the income before comparing it to this chart. This chart gets updated every year, and you will receive the most updated version from us each year when we send out meal benefit applications and other related documentation. Please note that according to federal regulations, the eligibility guidelines may not be distributed to households or families. The Income Eligibility Calculator is a tool available on RIDE's old CNP Connect login page, which can be used for making manual eligibility determinations. You do not need to log in to be able to use this tool. Simply click on the Income Eligibility Calculator at the top of the screen as shown circled here in red. Once you click on the calculator, this pop-up will appear. After entering the number of household members with and without income, several more lines will populate for entering income information as shown on the next slide. Also, the total number of household members will automatically populate. Once the income lines have populated, you will need to enter each individual amount of income received by each household member listed in the appropriate column, according to the type of income. Next to the box where you enter the income amounts, you must choose the frequency of income from the drop-down by using the corresponding legend, where 1 is annual, 2 is monthly, 3 is bi-monthly, 4 is bi-weekly, and 5 is weekly. After entering all of the income information, click Determine at the bottom of the screen. The determination will appear in red as shown above. Underneath the determination, you can click on the View or Print Summary page link to view a summary of the determination as shown on the next slide. Printing this page and saving it with the meal benefit application is a good best practice for maintaining clear records on how eligibility determinations were made. Another benefit of printing this page is that it provides an indication of whether an application is error-prone, which is important for verification. This will be discussed in more detail during the verification training. As mentioned on a previous slide, Eligibility determinations must be made within 10 days of receiving the application. Included in the 10-day time frame for processing applications, you must notify families of the eligibility determination. If the applicant is being denied benefits, the notification must be provided in writing. We recommend using the template notification shown here to ensure the notification has all of the required language. Here are some important points to remember when determining meal benefit eligibility. Categorical eligibility is determined by a family checking one of the boxes in Step 1 that indicates their child or children is a foster or a homeless child by entering their SNAP or Rhode Island Works case number in Step 2 of the application. When making an eligibility determination based on income for families with more than one income, and the incomes have varying frequencies, you must annualize the income. Also, income fields that are left blank are a positive indication of zero income. When reviewing household size, ensure that the total number of household members equals the number of children listed in Step 1, plus the adults listed in Step 3. If the total number written by the applicant does not match the count, be sure to follow up with the applicant. The next few slides are an opportunity to practice what we've learned so far. You will need to have the income eligibility guidelines available to complete this activity. This is a sample of a completed meal benefit application. Please pause the recording here and take a minute to make a determination on this application. On the next slide, we will discuss what the determination should be and why. You probably noticed that the family entered a SNAP case number, which means they do not need to fill in the income section of the application and should be automatically eligible for free meals. But if you look closely, the case number is 16 digits long. If you recall from a previous slide, a Rhode Island SNAP case number will never be 16 digits long, so this application requires further follow-up to either obtain a valid case number or for the family to complete the income section of the application. Here is another sample of a completed meal benefit application. Again, please pause the recording here and take a minute to make a determination on this application. On the next slide, we will discuss what the determination should be and why. This application had both adult and child income with varying types of income frequencies, so annualization of this income is required. The total income is $49,200 per year for a family of 3. When you compare this to the income eligibility guidelines, you will see that the family is not eligible for meal benefits. Here is one last sample of a completed meal benefit application. Again, please pause the recording here and take a minute to make a determination on this application. On the next slide, we will discuss the determination and why. Again, this application has varying frequencies of income, which require annualization. The total income on this application is $38,400 per year for a family of 3, which means they are eligible for reduced price meals. However, the application is not signed and therefore is incomplete and cannot be processed. This requires follow-up with the family to obtain a signature. Now, we will review the direct certification process. Automatic data matching, generally referred to as electronic direct certification or EDC, must be conducted at least 3 times per school year. Once at the beginning of the school year, 3 months after the beginning of the school year, and 6 months after the beginning of the school year. We encourage you to do it every month, though especially in schools where there are a lot of transient children, new children can appear on the list at any point in the school year, and you want to be able to capture their eligibility as early as possible. Also, be reminded that if a child is on the list in August and you run it again in October, and they are no longer on the list, their EDC eligibility from August is still good for the entire school year. And remember to extend eligibility to all other children in the household, even if only one child in that household appears on the list. Students can also receive direct certification via a letter from the SNAP office. This letter comes directly from the SNAP office to the household, and it tells the family to bring the letter into school to show that they are automatically eligible for school meals. Sometimes a household may also send in a letter from the SNAP office that says they do not need to bring the letter into the school, and that is because the expectation is that they are already on the EDC list. Families must be notified of their child or children's eligibility for free meals based on their direct certification status. The notification must also clearly state that free meal benefits are extended to all other school-age children in the household, and who they can contact if they have other school-age children in the household who are not listed on the notification, as well as who they can contact if they do not wish for their child or children to receive free meals. We recommend using the template letter pictured here to ensure all required information is included in the notification letter. Prior to school year 24-25, the direct certification process has been inclusive only of those children living in households receiving SNAP and Rhode Island Works benefits, or who are a part of a formal foster care arrangement through the state. Beginning in school year 2024-2025, Rhode Island has been approved to participate in a demonstration project that will allow us to expand our electronic direct certification process to include the use of Medicaid data to qualify students for free or reduced priced meals. Through direct certification, we are able to leverage existing data sources to extend meal benefits to students without the need of a meal benefit application. The programs that I previously mentioned, SNAP, Rhode Island Works, and foster care, have always been allowable as a part of the direct certification process through existing statute and regulation related to the NSLP. However, there are other programs being administered throughout various state agencies that also collect income information and other data that could be used to extend meal benefits to students. In order to use alternate data sources for direct certification, state agencies must receive specific approval from the USDA. Beginning school year 24-25, RIDE has received approval to partner with the Rhode Island Department of Human Services, as well as the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, to include Medicaid data as a part of our direct certification process. Using additional data to directly confer free or reduced price meal benefits should increase the number of children that are automatically qualified for meal benefits through the direct certification, which will increase an LEA's Identified Student Percentage, or ISP. Increased ISPs combined with the recent lowered eligibility threshold for participation in Community Eligibility Provision, also known as CEP, may make it easier for schools to move away from meal benefit applications altogether by offering meals at no charge to all students through CEP. Unlike SNAP and Rhode Island Works, eligibility for Medicaid and eligibility for free or reduced price meals do not perfectly align, and an income test is required in order to extend meal benefits. This means that using income data from Medicaid case files, benefits can be issued for either free or reduced price meals, depending on the income level of the participants. Note, not every Medicaid participant will qualify for free or reduced price meals. It is possible that a participant will be living in a household that participates in Medicaid but does not qualify for free or reduced price meals. The income test for Medicaid participants will happen at the state level, and any student identified as eligible to receive free or reduced price meals will be communicated to LEAs through our existing EDC match process. RIDE's existing EDC matching process applies only to public schools that RIDE maintains enrollment data for. RIDE will work with private schools to develop a matching process similar to the one used in public LEAs, which must be conducted at least 3 times annually. As previously mentioned, RIDE anticipates that schools will see an immediate increase in their direct certification numbers and therefore their identified student percentages once the direct certification process is extended to include Medicaid data. For school year 24-25 only, LEAs will be able to elect CEP participation mid-year or reestablish CEP claiming participation based on increased ISPs resulting from the expanded direct certification process. RIDE anticipates providing the first matching data that contains Medicaid information to LEAs in late August or early September of 2024. While we will use the same process for transmitting direct certification data, moving forward, the actual match file will look slightly different. LEAs will now receive information on which program, SNAP, Rhode Island Works, foster care, Medicaid free, or Medicaid reduced, that a student qualifies under. This matching data must be appropriately processed at the LEA level to ensure that the student eligibility is conferred based on the correct program and that the correct benefit level. RIDE's DATS team has been working with LEAs during the summer of 2024 to ensure that all commonly used POS systems are able to appropriately process the revised EDC files. Ensuring that students are extended benefits under the correct program flags will be important in order to meet reporting and verification requirements moving forward. Regardless of the eligibility determination method, here are some important points to keep in mind. In general, a student's eligibility status from the previous school year can carry over into the first 30 days of the following school year, but there are some important points to keep in mind about eligibility carryover. Eligibility carryover includes any new students from households with children approved for free or reduced priced meals from the previous school year. For example, if a student in the 3rd grade has a sibling who is just starting kindergarten, the kindergartner will automatically have the same eligibility as their sibling in the 3rd grade for the first 30 days of school. New applications must be processed within 10 days of receipt, and new eligibility determinations must go into effect immediately. So you may not delay processing an application until the 30th day of school to allow a family to continue to receive a higher level of benefits than they might receive once the application has been processed. There are several instances outlined here of how eligibility carryover applies if a student is transferring from one school to another. And while there are some slight variances in the guidance, in every instance, SFAs are encouraged to carry over eligibility status for up to 30 days. Please keep the following points in mind when distributing meal benefit applications. Applications with instructions must be made available to all households, not just households that you think might be eligible for free or reduced price meals. The household letters must also be made available to all households. The household letter contains the reduced price guidelines, eligibility information, and contact information in case the applicant has questions or needs assistance. And you also must be able to provide guidance to households in any language necessary. You can use the web address listed here to find applications translated in many different languages on the USDA website. You must also be able to provide other types of assistance such as audio, braille, or for those who have limited English proficiency. These are all civil rights requirements. As a reminder, schools where at least 50% of the student population are eligible for free or reduced price meals are considered area eligible. and may want to consider participating in either after-school snack programs or CACFP at-risk after-school meals program. Schools do not have to be area eligible to participate in after-school snack program, but if a school is not area eligible, distribution of snacks must be tracked by eligibility type and claimed accordingly. If a school is area eligible, they can simply keep track of the number of snacks served and claim all snacks at the free rate. For CACFP at-risk program, schools can only participate if they are area eligible, and all meals are claimed at the free rate. Both programs require some type of educational or enrichment activity to be offered to the students attending, such that the opportunity is available to all students who attend school. The program also must be offered after the regular school day has ended. For the CACFP at-risk program only, both snack and supper service can be offered. In closing, we wanted to remind LEAs of a new federal program that will benefit many of the children and youth that you serve. This program is called Summer Electronic Benefit Transfer and is commonly referred to as SEBT or Sunbucks. Sunbucks is a new food assistance program designed to close the hunger gap when kids are on summer break and not getting nutritious school meals. In summer 2024, Rhode Island and many other states, tribal nations, and territories rolled out this program for the first time. This new and convenient grocery benefit means that during the summer, families will receive $120 worth of grocery benefits per eligible child on a pre-loaded card. This is one more way that families can stretch their grocery budgets and help their children thrive. Families can use these benefits to buy groceries, like how SNAP benefits are used. And these food dollars are in addition to, not instead of, nutritious summer meals children receive through the in-person summer food service program. Why is it important to you? Students who qualify for free or reduced price school meals will automatically qualify for Sunbucks the following summer. LEAs are encouraged to let families know about this additional benefit of completing a school meal benefit application. We know it works. Sunbucks is evidence-based policy at its best. Demonstration projects showed summer grocery benefits reduced child hunger and improved diet quality. Specifically, summer EBT cut the number of low-income children who experienced very low food security, the most severe form of food insecurity, by a third, and improved diet quality for children receiving summer EBT. Similarly, researchers found that pandemic EBT or PEBT reduced hardship among the lowest income children by 30% in the week after families received benefits, protecting an estimated 2.7 to 3.7 million children from hunger. Sunbucks has the potential to positively impact more than 29 million children across the nation. Help ensure that all eligible children and youth in your community receive this important benefit. A child is eligible for Sunbucks if they are school-aged and their household already participates in SNAP or Rhode Island Works, or is in formal foster care arrangement, or they attend a school that offers the National School Lunch or School Breakfast program, and their household income meets the requirements for free or reduced price school meals. Immigrant and non-U.S. citizens are eligible for Sunbucks. Participation does not impact immigration status. LEAs will communicate student eligibility to ride through the use of lunch flags in eRide. This information will then be transmitted to DHS so that benefits can be issued to families with no additional application process. Lunch flags and student addresses must be current in order for students to receive benefits. For any schools that do not collect meal benefit applications, families may still qualify for Sunbucks based on the submission of an alternate income form to be used for the Sunbucks program. Alternate income forms must meet certain regulatory criteria. RIDE will be issuing updated guidance and tools for schools not collecting meal benefit applications ahead of the 24-25 school year. Take action today. We hope that you are as excited as we are to better serve children and families with these expanded summer nutrition options. LEAs can support this program and their families by communicating early and often and ensuring that all data transmitted to RIDE is complete, accurate, and up to date. Please reach out to the School Nutrition Programs team with any questions or concerns. This concludes our training. Thank you.